The sun was barely creeping over the horizon, painting the still waters of Silver Hollow Lake in shades of molten amber. It was 6:15 a.m. on a crisp September morning in 2026, and I, Ethan Caldwell, sat by the lake on my family's Pine Ridge Ranch in northern Montana, sipping black coffee and tossing breadcrumbs to a family of ducks that had called this place home for longer than most folks had been alive. The weathered oak table beside me held a framed 1948 wedding photo of my grandparents, James and Evelyn, standing right here by the same water rim in his Navy uniform, her glowing in a lace dress. This land, this lake, had been ours for 160 years, a legacy etched in sweat and stubborn pride. But that morning, as I watched the ducks glide, I had no idea a storm was brewing across the fence line, one that would threaten everything I held dear. It started with a white envelope taped to my mailbox, glaring like a warning shot. I tore it open, expecting a bill, but instead found a letter on official HOA letterhead from Willow Grove Estates, the cookie-cutter neighborhood that had sprung up next to our ranch a decade ago. The signature at the bottom belonged to Victoria Hammond, the HOA president, who ran that place like her personal kingdom. The letter cited Violation Notice WG 2026043 in bold, accusing my navy blue barn of disrupting the approved neutral tone aesthetic and slapping me with a $100 fine for visual pollution. I laughed. Me ranch wasn't part of their HOA. This land predated their beige empire by over a century. But Victoria didn't care about facts. She wanted my barn repainted to match her sterile vision, and she thought a fine would bend me. I called the HOA office and got Tim, her jittery assistant, who read from a script. Mrs. Hammond insists on community standards. Your barn's color creates discord. I explained, as calmly as I could, that my family's 1866 land grant gave us full rights, no HOA strings attached. Tim's reply? Mrs. Hammond anticipated that excuse. The fine stands. That word, excuse, lit a fire in me. These people thought my family's history was a lie. I paid the $100 online to avoid a fight, thinking it'd end there. I was dead wrong. A week later, a certified letter arrived from Baxter & Cole, high-priced HOA lawyers whose letterhead screamed money. They demanded historical access rights to what they'd renamed Willow Lake, my lake, without so much as a phone call. They threatened legal action to claim it through adverse possession if I didn't comply. My stomach dropped. Online, I found Baxter & Cole's track record. They crushed homeowners with endless lawsuits, bankrupting anyone who fought back. This wasn't just Victoria's power trip. Someone was orchestrating a calculated attack to steal my land. I noticed Harold Grayson, an old widower from Willow Grove, watching me from his porch as I read the letter. His grim nod told me he'd seen this playbook before. At the next HOA meeting, I walked into their community center feeling like a defendant in a kangaroo court. Victoria presided over 12 residents like a queen, her gavel a pen she tapped with smug authority. I laid out my evidence. The 1866 land grant, survey maps, 160 years of tax records. It was airtight, undeniable. Victoria didn't even look at it. This isn't about old papers, she said. It's about community values. When a new resident, Nathan Brooks, dared suggest my documents looked legit, she shut him down. Mr. Brooks, you've been here 6 weeks. Leave this to the grown-ups. The room went quiet as Nathan's face burned red. Victoria's vote passed 8-4, fining me $3,000 for obstructing recreational resources. I was officially at war. Then things got creepy. My security cameras caught a drone circling the lake at 1 a.m., and fresh boot prints appeared in the mud by my dock, alongside a cigarette, but I didn't recognize. My gut twisted. What if Victoria knew about the secret under the lake? My grandfather's stories had hinted at something valuable, but I'd never dug deeper. Now, I wondered if this was about more than control. Victoria upped the ante with a Willow Grove family fest, right along my fence, a deliberate siege. EDM music blasted at 8 a.m., bounce houses blocked the road, and kids accidentally tossed toys onto my land, always near the lake. When I returned to stray football, Victoria crowed, "Let's thank Mr. Caldwell for returning our community property." The crowd filmed it, egged on by her triumphant smirk. I called the sheriff, but Deputy Larson just shrugged. "Keep the noise reasonable." Victoria batted her eyes. We're just families enjoying our amenities, officer. Harold sat apart, watching like he'd seen this circus before. I approached him, and he sighed. 40 years ago, she pulled the same stunt on me over my lilac bushes. I was a lawyer then, thought I could win with facts. You can't beat a rigged game fairly. His advice hit hard. Check everything your grandfather left you, Ethan. Everything. That night, I stared at Zillow's $3.2 million estimate for Pine Ridge, tempted to sell and escape. My finger hovered over the contact agent button, but the 1948 photo of James and Evelyn stopped me. I couldn't betray them. Following Harold's hint, I opened my grandfather's old Navy trunk in the basement. Beneath his medals, I found a 1971 geological survey marked Confidential, Pine Ridge Assessment. My hands shook as I read. Substantial quartz crystal deposits in lake bed, valued for industrial use. A note in James's handwriting was clipped to it. Evelyn, government men asked about mining again. Told them no. This lake stays Caldwell forever. Love, James. The truth hit like lightning. Victoria wasn't after aesthetics. Someone had tipped her off about millions in crystals under my water. At 7:15 a.m. the next day, feeding my ducks, I saw Victoria's sleek BMW pull up. She stepped out in a tailored suit and heels, striding to my fence like she owned it. Ethan, we need to settle this lake issue now, she barked. I walked over, duck feed bucket in hand, and said, You're on private property, Victoria. She snapped, I'm here on official community business for shared resources. I held my ground. This is Caldwell land, 160 years strong. No shared anything. Her face twisted with fury. Your selfishness is tanking our property values, she shouted. I turned to leave, done with her nonsense, but her scream froze me. Stop. Turn around. Time slowed as she pulled a Glock from her designer purse. Tears streaking her face, but her aim steady. I'm not asking. Give me the lake. I met her eyes, oddly calm. Put it down, Victoria. My cameras are rolling. She sobbed. You don't get it. I need that lake. I took a step closer, reckless but sure. Shoot me, and you'll get a cell, not my water. My panic button, pressed when she reached for the gun, brought deputies in 10 minutes. They cuffed her, but her lawyers had her out by noon, claiming emotional distress. Deputy Larson shrugged. No one got hurt, and she's got good lawyers. Victoria's smug smile as she left the station told me the system was hers. That night, I called Harold, my voice raw. She pulled a gun and walked free. I'm done playing nice. In his study, lined with law books and a chess set, Harold poured whiskey and got to work. She slipped up, Ethan. This is about money, not rules. He slid me a folder showing Willow Grove's developer had gone bankrupt in 2021, leaving $1.8 million in debt. By the debt, you own the HOA, he said. It'll cost $900,000, maybe less. I could mortgage the ranch, but it was all or nothing. Meanwhile, Nathan Brooks, a tech whiz, found Victoria was siphoning $9,000 monthly from HOA funds for her lawyers and fake consulting fees. He teamed up with Clara Hensley, a retired principal, and Greg Turner, an accountant, who confirmed her theft. Residents were furious to find Clara $400 for unapproved tulips. I offered Meridian Capital $1 million for the debt, and they agreed. But the day before closing, they backed out. Someone outbid me. Harold suspected Victoria, using stolen HOA cash. He had a backup. Harbor Point Investments would take $850,000 cash, 48-hour close. You're betting the ranch, he warned. I didn't blink. She aimed a gun at me. I'm in. We closed the deal, and Victoria had no clue what was coming. She called an emergency HOA meeting to neutralize the hostile neighbor threat. The community center buzzed with 70 residents, sensing blood. Victoria, in a $5,000 suit, unveiled a PowerPoint painting me as a menace, with edited footage of me threatening her, really just feeding ducks, and fake charts claiming my lake refusal cost $2.7 million in property values. She proposed a $30,000 fine and a restraining order. Harold stood, voice like steel. Point of order, Madam President. Your board's authority is void. He revealed my debt purchase, giving me control of the HOA. Victoria's face collapsed. You can't buy my neighborhood, she shrieked. I stood, calm as the lake. As owner, I dissolve the board, effective now. Nathan jumped up, brandishing proof of Victoria's $60,000 theft. Clara and Greg piled on, exposing her fines for flags, mailboxes, even parking. The room erupted. Residents shouted years of grievances. Victoria fled, screaming, "I'll make you regret this." I slashed fees from $500 to $200, axed 95% of the rules, and dropped all lawsuits. No more beige-only houses or banned roses. A forensic audit nailed Victoria for $60,000 in fraud. She faced felony charges for embezzlement and assault. Her lawyers bailed when the cash dried up. Neighbors shunned her stores, lost her reservations, friends ghosted her. A for sale sign sprouted in her yard, and she moved out alone, her U-Haul a symbol of her fall. Harold watched, sipping coffee. "Power without respect is just tyranny," he said. 6 months later, by Silver Hollow Lake, I sat with the new HOA board, Nathan as president, Clara, Greg, others who'd fought back. We'd turned Willow Grove into a vibrant place. Colorful homes, kids playing, gardens blooming. The 1948 photo of James and Evelyn now sat beside one of us by the lake, a testament to what we'd saved. The crystal mine funded the ranch's future, but the real treasure was the fight itself, standing up to a bully who thought a gun could steal 160 years of legacy. Was $850,000 to crush one tyrant worth it? Drop, worth every penny if you think I nailed it, or too far if I should have walked away. Would you risk everything to protect your family's land? Comment, "Not done," if you think Victoria's plotting revenge, or "over" if she's finished. Like, subscribe, and tell me, how far would you go to stop a bully with a gun?